Hey everyone, Max here, coming at you on day one of Modern Horizons 2 with a pretty sweet update to my favorite Legacy deck. So, or I guess one of my two favorite Legacy decks, respect to Doomsday. This deck, however, I think got some pretty sweet upgrades in Modern Horizons 2. We're talking, of course, about Steel Stompy, which is named after our boy here, Steel Overseer. Probably the worst card in the deck at this point. But it's an affinity-style artifact aggro deck, Chalice deck. The idea is you get artifacts on board, you kill them quickly. A benefit that you have over Eldrazi is that Eldrazi can't beat a 6/6, this can. The downside, of course, is that you get hit by a lot of incidental artifact hate. Another upside, however, is that it's a lot more fun to play. I really enjoy playing with artifact creatures. I know I'm not alone in that. You also get Emry, Lurker of the Loch, which of course allows you to recast all of your artifacts from the graveyard, or at least one each turn. So you do have a little bit extra staying power when compared to the probably closest analog Stompy deck, which is Eldrazi aggro. However, with Modern Horizons 2, Steel Stompy got some pretty sweet upgrades. It got Thought Monitor, which is basically a Thought cast for 2 mana more. And for that extra 2 mana, what you get is a 2/2 flying body that sticks around, which means that you can cast it with Emry. Sack it to Ravager, or sack Ravager onto it, because it's a flyer, so you can get a giant flyer in the air. It can block Delver. All sorts of things. So I think that this is going to be sweet, provided that we actually have enough resources to cast it. And the second upgrade we got is a card I paid way too much money for, Urza's Saga. It's a land that's also a saga. Each chapter, it keeps as it levels up, so the land gains initially tap, add colorless. On the second chapter, you're able to pay 2 and tap it to create a construct, like a Karn construct, the 0/0 that gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. And then the third version is to tutor for an artifact with converted mana cost 0 or 1 and put it onto the battlefield and shuffle. So for that third chapter, I have put into the deck 1 Mishra's Bauble, which is kind of a low-impact, slow cantrip card, but really nice with Emry, because at the bare minimum, you can just tap Emry, play a free Bauble, and draw an extra card every turn. And Pithing Needle. Pithing Needle is in part for the fact that if your opponent does not crack all of their fetches in response to the Urza Saga going off, you just grab Pithing Needle and name the fetch. If they have 2 uncracked Scalding Tarns, then once you choose Needle and it enters play, it's too late for them to react. So we'll see if we catch anyone off guard with that today. The sideboard, couple slightly atypical choices. I have Spatial Contortions here to destroy Collector Oofs. Warping Wail, I think, is probably the best way for this deck to interact with Doomsday, so I have 3 of those. I have the remaining 2 Thorn of Amethyst. I have 2 Ensnaring Bridge, which kind of fell by the wayside when Oko was in the format because it didn't do anything against an Oko deck because they could just elk it. I have an Antiquities War, which I'm trying here, as kind of a grindy card that can randomly push through a Collector Oof or an Olrod type effect. It occupies the same space as these 2 Karn Sign of Urzas, which do the same thing. They just make threats and gain card advantage. This is the same space. I'm just trying a 2-1 split to see what I like more. I have 3 Faerie Macabres. This is usually a Leyline of the Void slot. However, decks expect Leyline of the Void out of Stompy decks, and so they bring in stuff like Force of Vigor, and so they blow up, your Chalice and your Leyline, and then you're dead. So the Faerie Macabre, the idea is, while it's a much weaker form of graveyard hate, at the very least, it doesn't get blown up by the same hate that the rest of the deck does, so it kind of exists on this orthogonal axis. So I'm trying that to see if it, even if it's a much weaker card, if it does enough that it's worth its inclusion, or if I just should play high risk, high reward and go Leyline in the Void. We're trying a few things tonight. And so the last thing is that I want to put a Master Thopterist into this deck. because it makes a lot of Thopters, which will cheapen Thought Monitor. And then in addition to that, it's nice at blocking from depths, makes Delver blockers. The downside, of course, is that these 5 creatures get bounced by Karakas. But first we have a Pithing Needle, and second, that's a risk I think I'm willing to take. And so I think I'm going to cut the weakest card in the deck at this point, which is Steel Overseer, and throw this baby into a league. I will see you all in a minute. Hey everyone, we're back. We have lost the die roll, and I don't think we can keep this hand. It's a little bit too low impact. It's got a Pithing Needle and a threat and a bunch of lands and doesn't really go anywhere. It doesn't come out of the gates fast. I think we can do better. This is definitely better. I'm going to keep this one. I'm going to bottom the factory, I think. The reason being is I want at least one soul land. I'm afraid of it getting wastelanded. And I have the play pattern of Chalice into Thorn, or Thorn to Chalice, we'll see. And then followed up with the Ballista. I want to keep my blue source for the blue cards I draw. Opponent went Misty Pass. I think at this point on Misty Pass, I'm going to play a Thorn. The reason being is I'd much rather this get forced, and if this resolves, it's kind of a nicer use of my mana to turn 1 Thorn and then turn 3 play a 3-mana Chalice on 1. So our opponent's brainstorming response, and it resolves. Nice. So if they want to cast a 1-drop here, it's going to cost them 2 mana to do so. No idea what deck they're on. I have a feeling it's Doomsday, but I can't be sure. Nope. Okay, so they're on the Witherbloom combo, which is good to know because this Ballista can kill this Witherbloom Apprentice. And so I need to decide how close to dead I feel, because if they just go on this turn, they could just go the Chain of Smog and target themselves, and the cast triggers don't get affected by Thorn, so they could just play land and win. So I think I need to hedge a little bit and just play a Ballista for 2. I know it's going to resolve because I have a Thorn in play. So now at the very least they can't hurt me. Next turn my plan is to play a Chalice on 1 and a Steel Overseer, in that order. And then we'll see where we go. Be a nice time to draw a Thought Monitor. Actually seems like it would work out quite well. Two mana. 3 mana. Chain of Smog. Two mana. Our opponent's thinking about their options here. The reason I'm not using the Ballista, by the way, is that I want to, okay, they're going for it. I'm going to let them rip their hand apart. Okay. So now I guess they're going to keep targeting themselves? Okay, no. So now at this point, Chalice on 1. I'm going to play the Mishra's Factory so it can attack next turn. Play Steel Overseer. Going to take a little bit for my opponent to chain 3 spells together, especially with this Thorn in play. So, we'll see what they can do, but I feel pretty safe intuitively. Oh, that was a nice pickup. So I'm going to animate this. I'm just going to play this for 2 so that I can activate Steel Overseer, attack for 3, and go on to game 2. Great. Okay, so looks like Faerie Macabre is pretty important. It looks like Warping Wail is going to be pretty important as well. Countering Chain of Smog once they discard their hand, or stopping Buried Alive. Thorns are great at stopping both parts of the equation. Pithing Needle seems like it doesn't do much here, so that can probably get cut. Honestly, some of the grindier cards can go, I think. I'm guessing Emrys aren't super important. I'll trim 1 Emry. Sai seems good at the bare minimum, just making blockers for Phoenix. Steel Overseers are probably not super essential, since making my team bigger isn't really the name of the game here, just surviving is. Stonecoil's fine. A 4/4 blocks Phoenixes and has protection from Witherbloom Pledge Mage. So I have 1 more cut. Or no, I have... If I cut these, yeah, 3 more cuts. It's maybe 1 more Emry. Oh yeah, because the thorns came in. Maybe the Bauble as well. No, we need to get something with Urza Saga, maybe. I don't want to just grab a Lotus Petal. That seems a little bit weak. Got 1 Thought Monitor. Kind of a late, slower card. Good at blocking Phoenix, but just a little bit slow. And let's trim 1 Ravager. So our opponent's going to be on the play again. This hand has a turn 1 Thorn, and then nothing. I think I have to mulligan it. This hand has a turn 1, technically a turn 1 Chalice and a turn 1 Thorn. No, it doesn't. Thought if this was a soul land it would, but it doesn't. I'll keep this anyway. I'm going to bottom the Stonecoil Serpent. I think that getting lock pieces into play quickly is going to be more important than getting my value, or getting my creatures in play. Okay, so they're going to turn 1 Preordain. I think I'm going to lead on a Chalice at this point. The reason being is that I'm more concerned with the Dark Grip Buried Alive follow-up than I am with a just them playing a 2-drop on 2. So of course I have to sack the petal, which is very sad, but that's the life we lead when we play Steel Stompy. Things don't want to stick around. City of Traitors die on us. This thing apparently dies after 3 turns. Oh, speaking of threats, this is a threat. Okay, so now I can play land. That's cool. And Thorn. Looks like opponent's probably abrupt decaying the Chalice, if I had to guess. Oh yeah, get out of here, Chalice. Now, of course, it's sad to note that as things currently stand, I don't have 2 extra mana to make a Karn struck next turn. I'll need to top deck a mana source to do that. That said, I really hope I am able to do so. Because otherwise this is just a waste with fading 3, which is pretty bad. I guess they kept the Bauble, right? So at the very least it would be a waste that turns into a Bauble or a Lotus Petal. Still pretty bad though. However, if I can make constructs out of it, I'm pretty happy. So we'll see where we end up. It's my first time putting the card in play. Opponent's paying a 2-mana Brainstorm, which you love to see. Means they're probably pretty unhappy, especially since they led with the land to do that. Which meant that I think they had a plan in mind and then realized it wouldn't quite work. Hey, we drew the... So I can do this as at instant speed. So I'm going to. Also, this seat was a perfect pickup because it turns on Mox Opal as well, even if this Thorn gets destroyed. It really feels like my opponent's trying to pump out some Phoenixes right now. Because they can, like, Darkrai into Buried Alive is a 4-mana, or 2-mana into 3-mana play, so the Darkrai basically comps the Buried Alive. And so they would need Darkrai Buried Alive, but that's doable. Yep, there's Darkrai number 1. Duress me, okay. And then they can follow up with Buried Alive. Yep. So we're getting hit by some birds here. I'm going to do this now, just before I forget. Okay, so I drew a Thought Monitor. What do I want to do? That blocks a Phoenix. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 artifacts in play. Honestly, I could just look at this. So this is going to cost 3 to play, which means that what I can do is I can pay 1 here. Grab. So if I grab a Lotus Petal, then I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana, 5 mana. Is that right? So this would be artifact number 5. This would be artifact number 6, which would make this cost 1. I think this works. So at this point I go 1, 2, Play a Ballista for 2. Now I can pay, so I declare Thought Monitor. It only costs 1. And then I sack the Petal. And voila. Draw 2 Thorns. So at this point I am able to block a Phoenix and shoot down another Phoenix, which puts me in a pretty commanding position to win. But you don't see Eldrazi Stompy doing that. Chain of Smog me, huh? Okay. I'll discard 2 Thorns. Do I want to take their last card out of their hand? Or would I rather have a Ballista? I think I don't copy. I think I just let them hold their last card. So Urza Saga did pretty good work that game. Ravager's a nice pickup. I think I'm going to play it. Okay, they're attacking. I'm happy with that. And we got the match. Awesome. I will see you all for round 2. What we were going to do, by the way, was attack with Ravager and Construct after playing the Ballista, which meant that if they do anything here, I can throw counters onto Ballista and still essentially kill through anything. Because if you count, I'll have 7 artifacts in play, and they're at 7. So that's GG. Hey everyone, we are back for round 2. We're against Shamwell Fella. We won the die roll. We're going to be playing first. Our opponent revealed a Yorion, which means that this is going to be a little bit of a slower match, and knowing that, I kind of like this hand. I'm here for it. Keep. So I could go any combination of ways. However, I think I'm just going to go turn 1 Factory Pass. There's a good enough chance I'll want to be attacking on turn 2. Okay, Thoughtseize. Well, I'm glad we didn't mulligan because this hand's pretty resilient. Emry's out. Stonecoil is also a nice pickup, but I think we're going to make a 4/4 Stonecoil next turn. And attack for 2 here. There's a Saga, huh? Does that change anything with our sequencing? I don't think so. I think that means next turn what we do is we play the Saga and make a Thought Monitor. And then the turn after we progress onward. So we have 2 artifacts in play now. So Thought Monitor will cost 5, which we'll be able to do. Okay, we don't have 2 artifacts in play. I stand corrected. However, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to play a Thought Monitor. And I guess I'm going to play an Opal. Nice little bit of cards coming in. Looks like our opponent's on just like a 4-color DAC style control deck. I'm going to discard Island. Least important card in my hand. Ravager's a nice draw. Let's play the Saga. Go 1, 2, play Ravager. 1, 2. We have 1. Let's count artifacts. 1, 2, 3, 4 artifacts. We'll have 5 artifacts, which means this will cost 2. So we can play a Ballista 4/2. Pay 2 for this guy. Another one, that's nice. I'm going to attack here. Our opponent can't block. Stand corrected. Our opponent can block. So at this point, sack Ravager to itself. Put the counters here. We'll see what our opponent does. We've got a 7-mana 5/5 over here. Can't get pushed, can't get decayed, can't get bolted. Of note, we have 1, 2, 3 artifacts. Oh, Assassin's Trophy. Yeah, we'll use it. That's also the nice part about having a couple basics in the deck. Ah. Damn, rough. Okay. Cool, I think that might be lethal. So, start with the Ravager. Seat. Okay, cool, we win. A Ravager plus Ballista plus attacking is lethal. We even had a backup Thought Monitor. Thought Monitor has been great. So we're against a control deck. I think I like these things just to kind of help push through. Thorns are generally quite good against them. They pay a lot of mana for stuff. Needle's probably fine. I'm guessing there's like some DACs and things I'm afraid of in this list, at least Planeswalkers at the very least. Cards that are kind of low impact involve our favorite guy who loves to die, Steel Overseer. Can trim a little bit of the fast mana as well. So you can cut back on a petal, or sorry, an opal and a petal, actually. And this is 5 for 5. I know I'm adding in 4 drops and cutting mana, but we have 28 mana sources, and I'm going down to 26. Only not that many that like to stick around, mind you. City of Traitors and Urza, Saga, and Lotus Petal all have a penchant for dying. But, you know, I'm going to try it like this. I've been really impressed with Thought Monitor so far. Well, this hand does not work. This hand is a keep. It might be a keep-lose if you've heard of those. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go Opal, Petal, Ballista. And the reason being is that I want to play Ravager while being able to animate Mishra's Factory in response to a removal spell. I think it's a better trade. Punishing Fire, and that goes face. Ooh, Thorn. Trying to decide if this changes anything. I think it probably does, actually. Play Thorn. It's just annoying enough to matter. Mana source off the top, and we can start chaining Thought Monitors. Yep, 2 mana Ponder. 2 mana Ponder means I probably made the correct decision. No shuffle, Caracas. Chalice, okay. I'll get a Chalice down. So next turn we can start playing Thought Monitor. Nicol Bolas the Ravager. I'm going to discard the Ravager. Ravager to the Ravager. Kind of a cool combo that they can keep on bouncing it back to their hand. Going off that way. I'm guessing it attacks, yeah. My life total is getting a little bit low. Leovold isn't really what I want to see. It stops my whole Thought Monitor plan. I can play a Ravager here. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to animate one factory and attack for what's essentially 5. If they want to make this trade, I'm going to make this trade. Cool. They made it. Right now what I'm deciding is whether or not I want to go to 6 to get a cheaper Thought Monitor next turn. Actually, no, I can't even, because I'd have to pay 3. No such luxuries. I need Stonecoil stat. Stonecoil beats the crap out of this card. That's rude. It's going to make it hard to race them. Okay, they're just feeding their Uro right now. Okay, so let's we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 artifacts in play. So this costs 2. So let's play Thought Monitor. Draw 2 cards. Your Seat and City. So first things first is we can sack this Opal. Play a fresh Opal. We have a backup city as well. So this is going to cost 3 to play this Thorn. Is that something we want to do? Or would you rather attack with this factory? Alternatively, I can decide that they've had enough mana Or they have enough mana, I mean. At which point I'm just going to throw things down on the table. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to block. Sack Ravager to itself. I don't want to actually throw away. Actually, I think I want to sack this Thorn. I don't think it's going to do anything. And now I'm going to make a 6/6. Thought Monitor. If they want to bounce pull us, they can do that. If they're just going to try to lock me or that, yeah, I lose, but it's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Still top deck Stonecoil Serpent. Yorion into hand. Hey, top deck the Stonecoil Serpent. You love to see it. 2, 3, 4, 4. I guess that's enough. Wonder what opponent's doing here. Urza. Clever. The cool thing about Urza is it's really strong. Let's top deck another Stonecoil. Not quite a Stonecoil. So at this point, I'm guessing they're going to attack with both. Oof. Okay, well that's just unnecessarily rude. I'm going to concede. Not giving them the satisfaction. On the play, I don't think we need to do anything that different. The presence of a Karakas, I don't really think changes the way that we're sideboarding here. The presence of Dak does make me happy that we have Pithing Needle. You could turn one side and then throw a petal behind it. I don't mind that. Or do I actually mind that? Yeah, actually that seems like a problem. Because if I turn one side and throw a petal behind it, then I'm using City to do that, and then all my lands are dying. So I think this way is not quite as powerful, but it's a turn 2 side with throwing 2 petals behind it. I stand corrected. It's a turn 2 side throwing a lot of stuff behind it. So play the Sai. Throw an Opal. Petal. And a Petal. Now let's hope to draw some Thought Monitors. That would be great here, huh? Wonder what they're going to play. Strix, okay. I don't care about that. Factory isn't exactly what I want to draw, but it's not the worst. Yeah, I'm not doing anything. It's fine. Didn't want to anyway, mana. So the Saga will pop out some constructs and either tutor a Pithing Needle or a Mishra's Bauble. Maybe I should play Urza's Bauble instead, just for flavor reasons. It's the important questions, right? Okay. Let's go into 12. My opponent's going to 12, I mean. I'm sitting pretty up here. Still wondering what they're going to play. I'd like to top deck a Walking Ballista. I think that would be a great draw. Uro is fine. I mean, as fine as an Uro can be. I don't love it, but... Eight. Hey, drew the Ballista. Okay, so let's go 1, 2, 3. Let's get the 9/9. You can grab a Mishra's Bauble. Right? That's the best play? I think so. Honestly, I could grab a Pithing Needle and name Polluted Delta, but I don't know. That's probably going to prevent the Uro from coming back next turn, but let's think for a sec if I can just win on the spot. So if I grab the Bauble, that's 10 artifacts. The Ballista's 11 artifacts, it'll be down to 10 again. So if I grab the Pithing Needle, name Polluted Delta, yeah, I like this. So name Polluted Delta. Can't use it anymore. At this point, I play these. Go Ballista. Oh, and it triggers the constructs. Nice. So the idea is that I shoot down the Baleful Strix, attack with everything. And since I removed their way to get colored mana, this should be a lethal attack. Okay, they're forcing it. Smartly so. But I mean, I'm going all in. Next turn is a big alpha strike with the Mishra's Factories as well. It's nice that they can't crack the delta to get a second green for their Uro. Hopefully that... Okay, it didn't necessarily mess them up. Uro is still the plan. Oof. A couple of Thought Monitors, a nice pickup. Let's start there. Ooh, wow. Oh my god. I think that just about does it. It does do it, actually. It's not even close. So now we attack with the 4 Thopterist. And basically we just do Ravager, Ballista, BS, and win the game. Awesome. I will see you all for round 3. Hey everyone, we are against the great XJ Cloud, aka JR. He said, "Hi future Min-Max viewers." So he's saying hi to you. Also, he said hi to me. I'm going to mulligan this hand because it has 7 mana sources. This hand is better. I'm going to bottom the Needle because I'm putting him on Death and Taxes. Sorry, not the Needle. I'm going to bottom the Thorn, putting him on Death and Taxes. So the Thalia that doesn't attack is probably pretty bad against him. I really hope that I can Needle a Vial here. Oh, yeah. And I'm going to try to high roll this a little bit. Play a Steel Overseer. I could hedge a little bit and play a Ravager, but I think I'd rather do the sweet thing. Because if I untap with the Overseer, I'm in a really good position. Obviously this exposes me to all sorts of removal, but if he's spending time removing my Steel Overseer, then that's good for me too. Looks like he's going to port my city. Trading 2 mana for 2 mana is very unfair here. Port is traditionally supposed to trade 2 mana for 1 mana, so the fact that he's getting to tap down a soul land is ridiculous. Ooh, okay. So I am going to just high roll the crap out of this hand. Okay. It's all on the field. Huh. He's got the new, the Frog Samurai avatar. It's pretty cool. It's a new frog from Modern Horizons. It's 1 green for a 2/2 with Bushido 2. Which means that if it gets blocked or blocks, it does that as a 4/4. Which, much like XJ Cloud, means it loves combat. Okay, so we will sack the Overseer. Oh man, protection from colorless. No fair. Ballista. Not a Ballista, but... Giver of Runes is really good against this deck. Pro Colorless is just so mean. Why do they have to give her that? Like, was she not good enough as a mom? Yeah, she gives runes, and in doing so can make Colorless sad. Kind of ridiculous. Sword of Fire and Ice, okay. Well, that doesn't really matter. I only have 2 mana. That's rough. Hey, this costs 2 mana. Let's play it. So what he's doing right now is the am I dead check. The answer is no, he's not dead. But I can present the quick math is that Arcbound Ravager with 2 Ravagers in play counts for 2. So I'm dealing 6 damage, or a few blocks here. Yeah, I'm doing 6 damage, 7, 8, 9. So I'm presenting 9 damage. Wonder what the odds are he has the new, I'm sure he has the new 5 mana Pitch Plow in his deck. Swords going on. It's coming in. Not blocking. Let's see where he points it. It's pointed at the Overseer. And I'll sacrifice it. So maybe I should have blocked. I don't know. Magic's hard. So this is 7, 8, 9 damage I'm presenting now. Artifact off the top wins. Quote unquote wins. Also, 0 mana artifact, because this is getting imported, I'm almost certain. Yep. Petal? Ravager. Rough. Okay. So it's, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9 damage. So, no good. So, maybe I messed that up at some point down the road. It's hard to say. Death and Taxes is classically a pretty tough matchup because they play to the board really well, which obviously is something that this deck tries to do. See what's coming up. Stoneforge. Okay, so that's fine. Wonder if he has 2 blockers or just the 1. Because that was GT, doesn't 2 blockers, okay. And a bonus vial for his trouble. So if I can draw like a Ballista off the top, I can win. Obviously, just like that. Cool. We did the skill game thing by calling the shot. So this matchup, Chalice is rough because they can just flicker to reset it. Thorn does close to nothing. So those cards are really bad. Karakas makes these a lot worse than they look, but let's not cut them quite yet because we need to see what we can bring in. Antiquities War is hard to cast. Karn, Scion of Urza is hard to cast. These cards are pretty decent. They just kill things. So, at this point, I could cut like one Emry, two Emry. I could cut one Emry and not bring in Antiquities War. Especially on the draw, having three Emrys is probably good. I'm going to play it like this. Ensnaring Bridge, the reason I'm not bringing it in is because what happens is they build up a board, at which point they just build up the board, it's bigger than mine, and then they flicker out the Ensnaring Bridge, and then they kill me. Which is very sad. Oh, I'm at 59 cards. Yeah, one Emry. There we go. So, this recording is sponsored by Card Hoarder. Card Hoarder has been really great at letting me explore the breadth of what there is in Magic, just between Legacy, Vintage. Honestly, at this point with Modern Horizons 2 dropping, even Modern, I have a real soft spot for Tribal Flames Zoo. So, it's an old deck. Let me pull up a list that I saw. And the idea is that it's a 5-color aggro deck based off of Domain. And so what you do is you grab, you get Tribal Flames. And Tribal Flames is a Domain card that deals X damage to target creature or player, where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. So it's basically, it's a Domain deck. You get all the colors of mana. You can see that there's like random blood crypts and stuff in here, even though there's no black cards. And then powered up with Modern Horizons 2, you've got Shardless Agent, General Ferris Rockrake, which makes a 4/4 every single time it... Oh crap. Forgot to submit. Every single time it attacks, and just like cascades crazy. This deck looks so much fun. And I am going to use my my Card Hoarder loan account to do that. So I don't have to buy a $1,000 deck. I can just rent it on the cheap. So that's awesome of Card Hoarder. And if you are considering Magic Online but don't want to fork over the amount of money that an initial investment costs, might I suggest looking into them. They let you have a flexible loan account of essentially whatever you want to pay, which is sweet. Okay, so we'll bauble him. Hit him with the old bauble. Source the Plowshares, that's nice to know about. So we draw. Sigh. Okay, well, I guess I shouldn't have played this petal, huh? Well, I mean, slight correction. The petal's the only way I could have played Sigh, so can't win either way. Looks like we're getting our Tomb Wastelanded. I'm okay with that. Spatial Contortion is a solid pickup here. Really, I'm looking to stack my deck with at least one other extra artifact before I play this Sigh right into a known plow. I'm going to Warping Wail this Thalia before Karakas comes down. I know that Jar is good at sequencing. Ooh, the squawks. Yeah, so that's a sweet combo. I'm imagining he's playing the White Force and what's the white 5 mana 3/2 that does cool things. The pitch plow. That's what it's called, pitch plow. Did it. Oh no, I screwed up. Rough. Forgot about that trigger. I should have just played the city first. That was just a straight up mistake. Misplay. There's the Caracas. I think he drew it, given the timing of the plow. Really wish we had a 2/2 Ballista. That would be better. I guess my wish is granted. That's what I thought. So, unfortunately, if I draw a land, I have more land for a turn, but then I end up with less land. So at this point, I think that I am best off making a 2/2 Ravager. Just because it tussles a little bit better with things. Yep, everything's in play. It's all on the table. So I could play the seat here and then attack with both. Like leave up these 2 removals. Oops. Yep, I guess I'm leaving up the 2 removal spells for a turn because I didn't attack. The plan was to attack, by the way. But here we are. Oh no. So because it takes 2, oh, he's just going to do it now. Okay. Urza, Saga, nice draw. I'm going to make a mana with Warping Wail next turn. Just so or at the end step, so I can be sure to make a construct with Urza Saga regardless of what happens. I don't like this whole hanging back thing that he's doing with his mana. Pretty rude. Wonder what it means. Ooh, nice. So now I can play this. Attack. End of turn. Okay, so he does have Solitude. He's gonna Solitude. Oof, okay, so. I feel like there's no way where this doesn't get just eaten here. which is sad. So I guess I sack it so that it doesn't get the lifelink. So none of this is ideal. But it does at least hold the ground a little bit. Okay, that's a great draw. So I'm going to tap this for, place this on the stack, sure. So I'm going to tap this one for mana. And grab a Mox Opal, because my mana is just really tight overall right now. So I can play a 2/2 Stonecoil. Attack for 7. I'm assuming he takes it. At which point he's probably going to alpha with everything. I'm going to Spatial Contortion the Solitude, block a Squadron Hawk, and hopefully get there. Block a Squawk. Contortion the Solitude. I still lose, huh? It's 6 damage. Ouch. Okay, so going into game 3, is there anything I want to change? I don't think so. It's pretty much exactly what I expected that he's playing. I've now remembered the name of the card, Solitude, which is sweet. Let's run it back. Urza's Sagas and the Thought Monitors have both felt really good this match, or this game. League. There we go. League so far. Let's try that whole sentence again. Urza's Saga and Thought Monitor have both felt very good this league thus far. Great, we did it. Keep. Okay, so I'm going to lead on a Steel Overseer. If that resolves and I untap with it, I'm going to play Mishra's Factory first, and then I'm going to cast a Stonecoil Serpent. And then, if that works, I'm going to activate this and just kind of go wild. Cool. Stonecoil for 2. Pump the team. So the Vial, of course, is really rough. Death and Taxes is a much better deck with an active Vial than it is without it, because it uses mana to do things like Wasteland Me, like you just saw. Play Esper Sentinel. Just gonna get in there. I think I should diversify a little bit on my lands, but maybe not. Like which ones I'm animating. The flip side, I should just try to high roll and maximize damage. Jite, huh? Okay. Ooh, Ballista. Okay, so since I'm not attacking with Overseer this turn, these pauses mean I'm pretty sure that he has Solitude in hand, for what it's worth. Or, oh, he's Vile. That's also a reason to pause. These pauses give me pause. Yep, there's the Vile. Just going to squawk, okay. Squawk away. My squawky friend. Force of Virtue, yep. It says free spell death and taxes. So let's attack for 5. If JR is going to use his mana to try to suit up something, I'm okay with that. Of note, he does kind of have endless squawks. GG's, he said. We did it. Thought monitors all the way. Look at that. Drew 2 of them and won the game. Not a coincidence. I'll see you all for round 4. Hey everyone, we're back for round 4 of Modern Horizons 2 Steel Stompy. Won the die roll, we'll play first. This hand is not a keep. It is so close. If any of these was a lock piece, I think I'd keep it. Or if this was like a Lotus Petal, just so I could play Emry. But as it stands, it's a mulligan. This is better. I'm not exactly sure how it's better, but it's better. I think I'm bottoming the Ravager. So I'm gonna throw it on the Opal. It's a turn 2 Overseer, turn 3 Ballista. Plays around. No, it doesn't even play around days. That's rough. Doesn't look like they have a days. So Overseer is almost certain to die. But if it does, that means that they're not playing a 2-drop on 2. Delver didn't flip. Wow. Ooh, we take those. Okay. So, Brainstorm. Means Delver's flipping next turn if it lives to its next upkeep. Unless they just go, you know, fetch land, bolt your Overseer, attack you for 1. Which is something I shouldn't have put into the universe just now because it's going to happen. It's the cruel reality we live in. It's a cool looking island. Bob Ross. Bolt. If it's a forked bolt, it hurts extra. Gut shot. For life. Or sorry, for mana. Okay. Well, I like that my opponents already adjusted their deck to deal with what they're anticipating the Ragavan meta to be. I think that's a cool call. So at this point, I'm going to play, I'm going to play the second Saga. I'm going to pay for Ballista, have Metalcraft, cast Emry for 1, still playing around days, and now I'm going to shoot down the Delver. So the odds of me making a construct next turn are pretty high because at the bare minimum it turns on the Opal, because right now I only have 2 artifacts in play. Blue-red Delver is really the litmus test here of a viable deck. I guess so. Nice. So put these on the stack. Let's make a thing. Grab a Bauble. Play the seat. This costs 2, huh? Nice. Let's see if they have days now. They have force, okay. They have forced it. At this point I can't attack. I'm gonna leave this uncracked until my end step. Ooh, that's big. Or it's not. Yes, oh my god. Expressive iteration off the top, or on the top for them. I think at this point I grab Pithing Needle and name Wasteland. It's either that or Scalding Tarn. So another artifact after the Stonecoil, and I'll have big enough constructs to do something with. This 2-mana 8/8 was pretty hard to beat, huh? Long for the days when the threats were multicolored and Stonecoil Serpent did something. At the very least, it means Murktide can't attack, because I can block with, actually no, I can attack back for lethal, or close to it if I draw an artifact. If I draw an artifact, I'm attacking back for 18. So, if I don't draw an artifact, I'm still attacking for 16. So my threats are big, so the Murktide's at least being held back, which means that once I draw an artifact, I'll be able to attack with 2 8/8s. So I might not be dead, but I'm also not feeling good about this game. Fortunately, they can't wasteland me, thanks to my trusty Pithing Needle. But I'm also not feeling like it's super likely that anything I cast is going to resolve going forward. Just not getting that feeling. The Stonecoil's gone. Murktide's not coming in. Arcbound is great. Means I can attack. Except he gets forced. So it doesn't work that way. But I mean, a spell getting forced is kind of all I can ask for, right? It means the spell is good enough. A second Ravager, however, would be great. Especially since I bottomed one, that would mean that there's absolutely no justice in the world, and I love that. Forager. Wow. And Murktide gets even bigger. Goodness gracious. So that doesn't cut it. They block. I'm assuming. They don't even have to. Okay, well, fine. I'll concede then. Okay, so, against Delver. Spatial Contortions seem pretty good. Ensnaring Bridges seem pretty good. Thorn is good on the play. It's really hit or miss on the draw. Cards that are not as insane. Emry's or Lightning Rod. Steel Overseers I don't really want due to their gut shots. I just don't think that they're going to be surviving nearly enough. Maybe I cut one Emry. I think I want to keep my mana sources. I think Pithing Needle might be a little bit loose. I don't need it, per se. One last card to cut. Maybe it's one Thought Monitor. Okay. Let's see how this goes. I wonder if they have a Null Rod in their sideboard. I really hope they don't. This hand is Stonecoil to the moon. I will keep it. So, let's see what they come up with. They're at 6 cards. So I go turn 1. I could make a turn 1 4/4 Stonecoil. I think I'm going to do that to play around Bolt. So I first tap the Mox, and then I tap this, then I tap this, and then I put Stonecoil. And then I'm not going to crack the Bauble because that's my Metalcraft. Emry's a nice draw. So a 2/2 and a 3/3 Stonecoil are about the same. One dies to Forked Bolt and the other doesn't, but I'm also dealing with an Emry here. Yeah, I got forced. Let's see what Delver has to say for itself. Revealed Gut Shot. So that means that I shouldn't make my Stonecoil a 7/1. And instead should focus my energy on killing Delvers. So it's just a Gut Shot in hand, so I know that. Urza Saga was a great draw. It means I do not have to lose out on means I don't have to lose out on my Metalcraft, or sorry, What am I saying? I don't know. I don't have to lose out on Metalcraft because I'm making constructs. So drew a braid. That's rough. Tough beats. But at least I know about it. At this point I do in fact want to Pyroblast coming off the top. Pyroblast coming off the top. So if I go Urza Saga, then I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 artifacts. So it'd be a 4/4. Yeah, I'm not super concerned about the gut shot. So I guess that's the plan. Their hand is Gutshot Pyroblast. That was a good draw. Okay, so I can't tap the Ancient Tomb or I die. True or false? Can I win this turn? Because I now have, can get another artifact from Urza's Saga. I do not think I can win this turn, so that means that this just adds colorless. Gets a petal. I'm going to play the Chalice on 1. They're going to have to gut shot me in response. Play Ravager. Attack for 5. But I might be winning this one. Because I can beat a single blocker. That feels pretty promising because they've just paid 2 and they're only going to be able to pay for 1 mana, so cool. Got the game. Going into game 3. Thorns get a bit worse. How much worse? Maybe given the turbo prowess of their deck, the Thorns are all fine. Maybe I want 1 Psy instead of 1 Emry. Just making blockers. For 11/11 dragons. And the extra text on that thing was pretty scary. Okay, so this hand is, I believe, too slow. Though I'm not sure about that. You know, I'm going to keep it. I have a lot of fast mana draws. And honestly, on turn 1, I can just play a Stonecoil. I do it off of basic island because I am not particularly interested in getting wastelanded yet. I want to draw more mana before I get wastelanded. There you go, just like that. Okay, so now I'm going to attack with Stonecoil, and then I'm going to play a Chalice of the Void around Daze. Start with the Petal, see what they think. I'm guessing they think they want to abrade this, or okay, force it. That's fine. So I have 3 artifacts in play. Brainstorm, okay. Well, that's a little bit rough. I don't know who told them they could cast Brainstorm. Especially the version from Strixhaven, Mystical Archives. Cool art, though. I like that Brainstorm has become more literal over the years with the art. It's now just like a storm behind a person's head. The most literal one, of course, the one from Vintage Masters, which is literally just like a brain-looking storm. This guy over here. This brainstorm is just ridiculous. It's just a literal brainstorm. I get it. It's very clever. Expressive Iteration. Okay, so there's their card advantage. So I hope to keep drawing lands off the top. Bauble's not bad either, though. So I have 4 artifacts. This costs 3. I don't think I want to jam it into Daze and Force. I am going to Bauble them now. Expressive Iteration, the second one, okay. Ballista is a nice pickup. I really am looking for lands, though. I have a feeling that my opponent has a Whale, and then need colorless to cast Spatial Contortion. I currently don't have colorless mana. Force Bolt, there, okay. I'll let it die. Put the counters on Stonecoil. Expressive Iteration. Saw it coming. Oh, Murktide Regent. Big boy. Play another Ravager. There's nothing we can do with it quite yet. This Murktide Regent is really strong. Granted, it's just a, you know, a beater, but it's a really big beater. It's just like astronomically large. I do have Ensnaring Bridge in the deck. So we'll see if we can end up drawing it before this thing kills us. Wasteland entered the exile zone, okay. Delverino. We will of course grow the Arcbound Ravager. So at this point, I think I have to just attack with Ravager only. I'm going to play a Ballista here. This probably is going to get dazed or forced. No, okay. Well, I have to kind of play around them having close to nothing. Okay, well, that's not close to nothing. I am probably dead several times over to this Null Rod. But I have to kind of go for it. Okay, nice. GG's. So we are a respectful 3-1 now. I will see you all for the last round. Hey everyone, we're back for round 5 with Modern Horizons 2 Steel Stompy. We've won the die roll. We will play first. This hand is a keep. It's a funny keep with a 1-drop and 2 chalices, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Chalice on 1. Wasteland. Yep, okay. So probably against Delver is my guess. I am not going to waste this petal yet. I kind of want to get the side down first. Okay, well. Beats. Ah, not beats. Let's try to draw mana source. It's not a mana source. Yeah, not much we can do right now. Baleful Strix, so yeah. The most baleful is Strixen. There's our mana. Right on time. So at this point, since all the Pithing Needle is doing is burning an artifact-shaped hole in my pocket, I was going to throw it out to make a Thopter, but I guess that's not meant to be. Got Force Pitching Ponder. Loam, okay. So we're not really going to generate mana anymore. I think that means I want to play Ravager first. And then I can sack the seat. Okay, they're not doing that. Oh, okay, yeah, I see why. Maybe I do actually want like a Tormod's Crypt somewhere in the 75, or a Relic of Progenitus, so that I can tutor for it with Urza Saga. There's Emry, that's a nice pickup. Not going to do anything yet. I milled over a Ravager, a Petal, and a backup Mox Opal. I could have potentially sacked the Chalice to the Ravager and then played a Needle to prevent the situation. I'd have to Needle Verdant Catacombs. But that was off of knowing that they had one in here and going off of Loam. The fact that they could just Loam for one anyway means that it is what it is. I had to exile both Wastelands to do that, which is nice. Let's try to draw a Stonecoil Serpent. Ancient Tomb's not terrible. So I can play a Ballista for one and cast a Ravager. We'll do that. So do it this way, it gets forced. Now I just recast the Ballista. So obviously this Uro attacking me is not really where I want to be. Oh no, Daze? I didn't expect Daze. But I guess it makes sense if they're aggressively like loaming me out. Then Daze is a good place to be. Thorn does seem pretty good against this deck. As far as Uros go, maybe I want like a Macabre. We'll see how many cards I want to cut. The Dredged Loam. Flipped 3 deltas. 2 different arts. Let's see, what could I draw here? I guess I could draw more Stonecoils. So return the Chalice, or sorry, destroy the Chalice, and I lose 2. Well, I'll sack it. Okay. Witherbloom Command continues to be good. I'm impressed with this card. It's been really good against Doomsday. Just the mill 3 cards means that you can't build an Ideas Inbound pile against them. Because if you ever try to draw 3, then they just mill you 3 in response and you lose. Like no matter where you stack the Oracle. So that is rough. Okay, so against that, I'm not going to try to worry about exiling Uro. I think I'm going to try to like go bigger. Throw them off a little bit. Slow them down. I am going to keep this Needle. I think maybe I cut an Emry into Thought Monitor. Just kind of try to go a little bit faster and more disruptive off the back of the Thorns of Amethyst. Let's see if that works. Overall, I'm really impressed with Thought Monitor though. It's been pretty strong in the games that I was playing it, especially like the earlier 2 matches, the first 2. It just chained a ton of cards. Okay, so It's a funny hand, but I think I keep it. I'm going to go leading off on Stonecoil Serpent. Actually, no, I'm going to lead off on Pithing Needle Wasteland. And then turn 2, I'm going to go Chalice into Emry. And then see where we proceed to go from there. That's a nice draw, so let's play it because we know they play days. Probably a brainstorm? Yep. Looking for some sort of answer to this. I did not find one. Emry milled over a Ravager, a Chalice, and a Steel Overseer. Of those cards, I think I'm highest on the Overseer? Library, okay. You can read all the books you want. Thorn is nice. I could play Thorn and then I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4 artifacts in play. This costs 3. Go Thorn and Overseer. I like that. Or maybe I play backup Chalice. No, I can't. Thorn's in play. Let's go Overseer. So now I still have 4 artifacts in play. Of note, Emry on Petal does not net mana anymore because I have Thorn in play. Three, Burrow. Plague Engineer. Construct, probably? Yeah. Okay. So now I don't have mana to spare, but I can grab a Ravager. Now I have Force. Now I can play the Thought Monitor. Comes down as a 1/1 because it's a construct, but better than not having anything. Can also play a Thorn next turn. Ooh, it's okay. Well, that means that Overseer is probably getting exiled. Thinking it's the time I made a big Stonecoil. Let's go for Petal and see what they do. It's not going to benefit me at all to get this Petal. Just kind of trying to constrict their green. You know what? I'll cast it. And then I'll tap this. Make a 4/4 Stonecoil Serpent. It's not huge, but it's enough, I think. Yeah, so now they're doing mean things. the very least, I have got my friends. Got my friends Arcbound Ravager, Thought Monitor, and Stonecoil Serpent. If they're ever tap out of green, I can like sack the Monitor to Ravager and then recast it with Emry. That's pretty cool. Just to draw extra cards. But we'll see where we end up. Obviously, that's all pending not dying to some Uro or Witherbloom command. All sorts of mean stuff. Having a Ravager in play is nice, though. It's a bit of insulation against kind of whatever they do. So there's the Witherbloom command. It's milling themselves and destroying the Chalice. I will sack the Chalice. And they return Misty Rainforest to their hand. Probably going to play a 1-drop now, if I had to guess. Fatal Push Emry, okay. That is something I'm okay with. I've got to back up. So, how should I play this? I think I'll attack with these two both. I'm definitely playing the Emry this turn, so I'm going to lead it with Thorn. Just because at the very minimum that lets my Arcbound Ravager get larger. Gonna diversify a little bit there. It's snap blocked. So now they're, of course, kind of doing it with the Scavenging Ooze. They can exile a lot of creatures from my graveyard. There's not much I can do about that. But we'll see what kind of removal they have for the Thought Monitor. Thorn's a good draw. Start there. Okay, so 1 mana cards cost 4. Just gonna crunch. They're gonna eat some things. Just gonna leave Emry up. She's not doing anything. Yep, okay, so my opponent's got 1, 2, 3, 4 more creatures to eat. So they're at functional 10, which is a 3-turn clock. Okay, well that's rough. It's not the card I want to see. Now I want to see Baleful Strix. But I can draw, or sorry, no, I don't want a Baleful Strix. I want to see Walking Ballista. Ancient Tomb is decidedly not Walking Ballista. Let's target a Chalice of the Void. See what they do. They eat in response. Smart. Okay, so can't attack. They're just going to kind of try to stabilize here. Let's get a Ballista. 3 Chalices are exiled. So, opponent's still got a big ooze. More Ancient Tombs. Try to cast the Petal. I'm not even going to cast it. Right, like I'd have to pay 2 life to do that. Not interested. Okay, well they're making sweet work of my thorns here. It's kind of rough that they've got Emry completely under control here. Maybe I should have Pithing Needled Scavenging Ooze, huh? Yeah, Ballista would just be so nice, because I could just do a giant Ballista, shoot the Baleful Strix, attack with the Thought Monitor. Yep, they're just making their way through. Bauble costs 1, which is nice. Gonna try to recast it. They're not gonna let me, but be an optimist. Opponent's eating my graveyard. Ooh, there's the Ballista. Okay. So next turn, things could be looking up. Misty, misty, misty. Look at that. Okay, so backup Emry is pretty nice too. I'm guessing this is getting forced. Oh, okay. Eating the Thorn. I'm not going to cast this backup Emry. The reason being is that I'm basically just very concerned about... Oop, Ballista is doing that. Well, let's do some math real quick. So if I pay 4 life, I go to 6. So I'm in trump block range. Not doing that. Okay. Didn't even need to do that much math. It's very basic math. Okay, so they're at 2. And they're at functional 4, 5, 6. They're functional. So with Plague Engineer, Baleful Strix, Psi, Emry. They're at a functional 7. Which means just attacking with the Thought Monitor is the way to go. at some point here, I'm just a little bit concerned about what they can do to me. Yeah, that's pretty disconcerting. Because that's lethal? Yeah. That's lethal. Well, that was a little bit disappointing. Guess I shouldn't have just like bluffed the Emry there. Let's go to 6 first. GG's. Okay, so that was a fun league. We only ended up going 3-2 after a 3-0 start, but overall I thought the thought monitors were very good. I thought that Urza Saga was pretty good. I'm not sure if Pithing Needle is the right call. It did feel pretty weak. I was kind of looking to have a Tormod's Crypt somewhere. Tormod's Crypt, Relic. Maybe Relic is a better main deck card than Needle. It very well could be. I'm going to try that. Oops, wrong one. And then in the sideboard I'll put a Crypt instead of the Macabre. Or if that's just too much graveyard hate. Or like, I mean, this is not enough turn 0 graveyard hate, I should say, because we can always tutor for the Relic. Yeah. Or do we want Needle in the sideboard? That's an interesting call. Let's look at that. I'm going to try that moving forward. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. You can check out more of our content at minmaxblog.com. And if you really like this stuff, like and subscribe from the YouTube channel. Take care. Bye-bye.